Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास। Hare Krishna. I welcome everyone to the Sunday conference call. I know who all are on the call today. Hare Krishna Mataji, Shri Caitanya Caritamrita Madhya Lila, की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय। This is Supriya from Mr. Mataji Lila. Hare Krishna, Supriya Mataji and Shri Lila. Thank you for the very beautiful chanting, Shri Lila. You were chanting so nicely. Thank you so much for inspiring me with your chanting. Welcome to the call. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Vinaya Mataji. Hare Krishna, Vrinda Baby. Welcome to the call. Thank you so much for your enthusiastic chanting, Vrinda. Thank you so much for joining Vinaya Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisance for the reach to Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti. Thank you so much for joining and giving us your consistent association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. This is Avinanda from Omaha. Hare Krishna, Avinanda Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for giving us your association and joining Srila Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shama Gauri Devi Dasi from Charlotte. Hari Bol, Shama Gauri Mataji, please accept my dandavats. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining in, chanting and giving us your most valuable association. Hare Krishna. Is there anything that wants to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. This is Kiran Goyal from Akkon Baltimore. Then all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Kiran Mataji. Thank you so much for joining and giving us your valuable association. Thank you so much for joining, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, this is Kalasudha Devidasi. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Srila Guru Maharajas.
Hare Krishna, kalasudha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. We are very fortunate to have you on the call today. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna. I welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Thank you all so much for the very beautiful chanting. Today, we are very, very fortunate to have our speaker, who is Her Grace kalasudha Mataji. And kalasudha Mataji will be speaking from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 23, verse 74 onwards. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your valuable association. You can now take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Very grateful to all of you. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 23, entitled Life's Ultimate Goal. Reading from texts 74 through 77. Text 74. Dakshina Vinayiriman Sharanagata Palaka Sukhi Bhakta Suhrit Prema Vashya Sarva Shubhankara. Translation. Krishna is very simple and liberal. He is humble and bashful, and he is the protector of the surrendered souls. He is very happy, and he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. He is all auspicious, and he is submissive to love. Text 75. Krishna is very influential and famous, and he is the object of attachment for everyone. He is the shelter of the good and the virtuous. He is attractive to the minds of women, and he is worshipped by everyone. He is very, very rich. Text 76. Krishna is the supreme, and he is always glorified as the supreme Lord and controller. Thus, all the previously mentioned transcendental qualities are in him. The 50 qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead mentioned above are as deep as an ocean. In other words, they are difficult to fully comprehend. Text 77. These qualities are sometimes very minutely exhibited in living beings, but they are fully manifested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatarine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangur langayate girim. Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So again, whenever, especially this Madhya Lila, whichever part of Madhya Lila I've been trying to read and give class upon, the statement of Srila Prabhupada that this Caitanya Caritamrita is PhD level always keeps resonating with me. Srila Prabhupada one time, it was said that, Srila Prabhupada in the afternoons when he would take lunch prasad, Srila Prabhupada would love to hear Krishna book, reading from the Krishna book. And it was explained by one of his very dear servants, Shrutakirti Prabhu, was explaining one time that, Srila Prabhupada, he would, Shrutakirti Prabhu would notice, that Srila Prabhupada would love to hear Krishna killing demons, So his eyes would go big and he would smile and laugh. And, every time Krishna would punch a demon, Srila Prabhupada would just, laugh vigorously. So, Shrutakirti Prabhu loved to see, Prabhupada smile and laugh like this and enjoy the reading of Krishna book. The listening of Krishna book. And therefore, whenever Shrutakirti Prabhu would get the service of reading from the Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada, he would actually try to find, Krishna killing demons, a chapter that glorifies Krishna killing some of the demons. So one day, one afternoon, Shrutakirti Prabhu was explaining that he was trying to, really go through the Krishna book to try and find a particular interesting chapter where Krishna is very diligently killing a demon. And that would give a lot of bliss to Srila Prabhupada. So with that mood, Shrutakirti Prabhu was just browsing the Krishna book, trying to find a very interesting pastime. And Srila Prabhupada was waiting, and then suddenly Srila Prabhupada looked at Shrutakirti Prabhu and said, just read from anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Just open the book and read from anywhere. And Shrutakirti Prabhu then explained that, well, Srila Prabhupada, I was trying to look for a, demon pastime where Krishna is killing a demon, so we can see you, enjoy it so much. You laugh so much and your eyes get broadened and widened and you really, get into the pastime. So I really wanted to give you that ecstasy. So that's why I've been trying to search a pastime from the demons, Krishna killing the demons. So Srila Prabhupada said, well, that's very nice, but Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada said, is like a sweet laddu. It's like a laddu that wherever you eat a laddu, from whichever corner you take a laddu and you eat it, whichever corner you eat a bite of, it's going to be sweet. It doesn't matter whether you eat from the top corner or from the bottom corner, from the middle, from the center, wherever you eat it from, it's going to be very sweet. So Srila Prabhupada said this Krishna book is something similar, that wherever you eat from, wherever you read from, it's going to be very sweet and it's going to be very, very ecstatic. So I will enjoy whichever, part of the Krishna book that you will read from. So that was very interesting, that although Srila Prabhupada was showing external, ecstasies when Krishna was killing a demon, but then he just loves Krishna's pastime, whichever part you take it. It's like a sweet meatball, like that. So similarly, this Caitanya Caritamrita, especially the Madhya Lila, this word of the statement of Srila Prabhupada that this is indeed PhD level of Krishna consciousness, it always comes to light, that, I personally feel very, very unqualified to speak on these esoteric subject matters. But nonetheless, Srila Prabhupada has given us this Caitanya Caritamrita and he has given us his Bhaktivedanta purport. And these are the guiding lights for us to understand these, very, very esoteric subject matters. So with that humble mood and seeking shelter of our Guru Vargas, seeking shelter of the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, we will try to explain these verses that we just read today. So, text 74, we can see in the previous verses, whenever I read this part of the Caitanya Caritamrita, this particular chapter, and especially this particular part of this particular chapter, every verse actually can be relatable to the Gopi Geet. It's very, very sweet. How the correlation is there, how the interrelationships are there. And sometimes it's very different rasas too, different mellows in which the gopis are expressing their love for Krishna. And here, in the way that Mahaprabhu is describing to Sanatan Goswami the ultimate position of Krishna, and the ultimate qualities, these right now that we are discussing are some of the 50 qualities, the artistic qualities that Krishna possesses. So the previous verses, I was just going through that how Krishna is the linguist of all wonderful languages, that Krishna can speak any language, any possible language. He speaks bird, he speaks snake, he speaks frog, he speaks any language in the world Krishna speaks. And therefore, anybody who prays to Krishna, just like how Gajendra, when he called out to Krishna, he called out in elephant language to Krishna. But Krishna understood, and Krishna came and rescued Gajendra. When Krishna was called upon, by any living entity, whoever has reached out to Krishna, in whichever language, it doesn't really matter. Srila Prabhupada would always say that whether we call out to Krishna in the Russian language, or if we speak to Krishna in Chinese, or if we speak to Krishna in Swahili, or any language, Krishna understands, because Krishna understands the language of the heart. The language of love is what Krishna understands. That supersedes every other language that we mundanely know about in this world. So many languages exist, but not many of us understand so many languages spoken by other living entities, but Krishna does. Krishna understands how to speak cow, how to speak bird, how to speak peacock, how to speak frog. Krishna knows how to speak and communicate with each and every living entity. That is how, every living entity has that connection with Krishna. That beautiful connection with Krishna is unchallengeable, and it is safe. Just for example, in mundane relationships, sometimes if the parents, they have more than 2 or 3 children, or more than even one child, then the other kids can sometimes get very wishy-washy. They might sometimes feel neglected. They might sometimes feel, oh, my mom doesn't love me as much as she loves my brother or my sister. She doesn't love me that much. We feel that our love gets divided. That happens even with our spouses. That happens even with our friends. When our best friend, if we see our best friend talking to another devotee, we feel so insecure that, oh, did my best friend now get another best friend? We feel so insecure. But with Krishna, we need to understand that there is no need to feel insecure. It is explained in Brihad Bhagavatamrita that when we go back home, back to Godhead, we will have our personalized Krishna with us. Krishna will actually be there just for us. Each and every one of us will have our own personal Krishna. That's how merciful Krishna is. That's how much he loves us. And just like in the Rasa dance, how every gopi felt that, Krishna is there just with me. That's how Krishna makes us feel. That's the absolute nature of Krishna's love, that he makes us feel complete. He makes us feel that he is with us. Undividedly, he is with us. And that faith, we need to try and demonstrate to Krishna that, Krishna, I know that you are there with me. I am yours, my dear Krishna, and you are mine. That is the faith of a devotee. That is the the faith that at least a devotee is expected to cultivate in order to try and understand this supremacy, the unfathomable position of Krishna. We need to cultivate this kind of um, quality, that yes, we need to understand and not feel challenged if there are so many devotees who are trying to get the attention of Krishna. But we need to feel secure in our individual relationship with Krishna, because we should understand that it is unique. Krishna, when he has relationship with each and every one of us, that is unique in nature. That is, independent of the other. It's not dependent on anything else. Krishna is just there for only us. That is the faith of a devotee. That is the faith of Krishna, that he, tries to give to the devotee. Anytime, even nowadays, we see so many devotees who get such amazing reciprocations from Lord Nrsingadev, such amazing reciprocations from, Lord Krishna. There's one devotee who comes to our Western Bhakti Vriksha. This happened around a year ago. I'd like to share this just to demonstrate to you this very point, that how Krishna is unique, he is personal, and he is there for each and every one of us, which is unchallenged by any other relationship that he may have. So this particular devotee, he's a nurse by practice, and he started coming to our program, and he started attending the Thursday Bhakti Vriksha program that we used to have. And we still have. So in that program he started coming, but then after 1 or 2 months he stopped. He was still studying and practicing for his nurse and being a nurse, but he would come off and on, not so regularly though, but he would come off and on. So one day, after around 6 months, he came to us and he said to both of us, to Prabhu and to myself, that I had this dream last night. Because he asked us first that who is that lion-headed guy who is there in the temple. That was his question. He's a South American origin person, and he asked us this question, that who is that lion-headed guy. And we said, well, that is Narasimha. We explained to him Lord Nrsingadev, and he said, last night I had this dream where I was standing at the back of the ISKCON Hare Krishna temple in Houston, and he was standing at the back of the temple, and it seems Lord Nrsingadev, from the altar, he kind of really pounced out and came like that to him, and caught on to his right leg and started dragging him towards the front of the temple. And then he came there, and he was like, this boy explained that he was feeling a little scared, but at the same time he was feeling assured by Lord Nrsingadev that he's there to protect him. So he explained that to us. It was a mixed feeling of feeling scared, of such a ghastly form, but he was very merciful at the same time. And at the same time feeling reassured also of his own protection. So then and from then on, he started, practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting japa, coming to the programs regularly. He started doing all of that very, very regularly, very staunchly. He started following all of it. So this goes on to demonstrate that Krishna does not discriminate, and that each and every one of us have a very unique relationship with Krishna, which is unchallenged by any kind of situation, any kind of circumstances that we may be in. We should never ever be insecure about our relationship with Krishna. That although Krishna has relationship with the 64 million species of lives, these are the species of lives. He has individual relationship with each and every species of life. And what to speak of that, not just human beings, but every living entity Krishna has individual relationship with. But again, in spite of that, we have an individual, unique connection with Krishna. And therefore, that will be the foundation of what I'm coming to next, is that here, while Mahaprabhu is glorifying Krishna, his beautiful 50 artistic qualities, just glorifying him so much. Like there's one one of the previous verses where it is said that how Krishna's smile is so enchanting that it just baffles everybody. His smile is so sweet. So Krishna just baffles everyone with his transcendental smile. In fact, in text 72, Mahaprabhu is saying Krishna is very expert in artistic enjoyment. He is highly cunning, expert, grateful, and firmly determined in his vows. All of these are contradictory statements, contradictory qualities. He's cunning, he's expert, he's grateful. How can a cunning person be grateful? Material world, it is not possible. These are conflicting emotions, conflicting qualities that cannot exist in a person simultaneously. But with Krishna, in the absolute sense, it does exist. And even his cunningness is worshipable. Krishna's cheating is worshipable. Krishna's stealing is worshipable because it is all absolute. It is not done out of being driven by anything negativity. It is not done out of, driven by, lust, pride, greed, envy, anger, or illusion. It is done just by, driven by pure love. That is the difference. So all of these qualities, although they may be so contradictory, so mundane in the mundane sense, but when it is in connection to Krishna, we need to understand that it is supremely absolute. And he is extremely determined in his vows. We know that how Krishna made his statement in the Bhagavad Gita, Kantaya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. Because Krishna, he is known to let go of his own vows only if. He doesn't generally let go of his vows. He keeps up his vows. But if his vow is in like a clash, if there is a clash between his vow and his devotee's statement, then Krishna lets his devotee's words reign and he loses to his devotee. That is how much Krishna loves his devotees. And we know that, in the battle of Kurukshetra, how Krishna had vowed that he's not going to take up any weapons. But then when Pitama Bhishma heard that, he said that I'll make sure that Krishna, you take up some weapon. And just against Bhishma Pitama, just to fulfill the words of his dearest devotee Pitama Bhishma, and to establish the position of Pitama Bhishma, that although Pitama Bhishma was on the side of adharma, because of his promises, because he considered, there are many reasons why Pitama Bhishma was on the side of adharma, that, he actually was also, Krishna chooses a few devotees, how to act. He chooses his devotees to show to everybody how to act, and also he chooses his own devotees how not to act. Only his dear devotees can do that. There's nobody else who can take that great role of showing how not to act. That's a very difficult task. How to, it's a very easy thing. Great devotees can easily do it. But greater devotees can show how not to act. They are really the ones who are the most surrendered to Krishna. Krishna chooses them for this difficult task. This statement was told by Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. I heard him say this 2 years ago in 2016. Sorry, 3 years ago now. He made the statement that Krishna chooses his dear devotees to show us, to demonstrate to the world how not to act. And those devotees are actually extremely dear to Krishna. They hold a very, very close place in Krishna's heart. So Krishna chooses such devotees like Pitama Bhishma to show the world that how not to act. Although, Pitama Bhishma was such a pure devotee of Krishna, he still chose his own promises above Krishna. He didn't side dharma. So he had his reasonings, but, when it comes to Krishna, everything is, there's no challenge to that. Even so-called adharma becomes dharma when it comes in connection to Krishna. But however, when Pitama Bhishma was against Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna was seemingly getting defeated by Pitama Bhishma, And Krishna displayed anger towards Pitama Bhishma, and he immediately jumped off his chariot and he just picked up a broken, chariot's wheel, and he just charged towards Pitama Bhishma. That how dare you, you're throwing so many arrows at my dear devotee and friend Arjuna. So at that time, Pitama Bhishma, when he saw Krishna coming and chasing behind him with that wheel of the chariot, Pitama Bhishma immediately just folded his hands and he sat down on the chariot and said, I welcome you, my lord. And today I have fulfilled my word that I'll make you raise weapons, like that. So how Krishna gives more weightage to his devotee's words. If there is a conflict between his words and a devotee's word, then Krishna chooses his devotee's word. So therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that, O Arjuna, O Kunteya, you declare it boldly that my devotees will never perish. That is Krishna's ultimate vow that he has taken, that he has assured that his devotees will never perish. And he has not only assured it, he has made Arjuna declare it. So because when his devotee will say something, Krishna will make sure that it happens, it comes to pass. So that's how dear the devotees are to Krishna. And here, it is said that how firmly determined Krishna is in maintaining his vows. He knows how to deal according to time, person, and country, and he sees through the scriptures and authoritative books. He is very clean and self-controlled. So these are some, beautiful attributes of Krishna. And then when we come to text 74, we are reading here that Krishna is very simple and liberal. He is humble and bashful. Bashful means shy. And he is the protector of the surrendered souls. He is very happy and he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. He is all auspicious and he is submissive to love. Some of these statements can be contradicted, like he is humble or he is bashful, and that he is especially this humble and bashful. Well, Krishna, there are many times that Krishna has displayed his supremacy, and that can be taken as an act of arrogance, not an act of humility in the mundane sense. But again, when Srila Prabhupada, he explains that in the mundane sense, we can take it, when Krishna he just proclaims that aham sarvasya prabhavo, when he says that everything comes from me. This is not a statement that Krishna is making out of his arrogance. No. If a person who is not the president, if he makes a claim that I am the president, that is arrogance. Or if a person who is not something and he claims to be something, that is arrogance, that is stupidity. But when the president himself is saying that, yes, I am the president, that is stating a fact. That is not a sign of arrogance. That is stating a fact. So here similarly, Krishna, when he's saying that aham sarvasya prabhavo, then it is actually stating a fact. It's nothing more other than this. And the gopis in the Gopi Gita, they also, speak something very similar. They are saying in text 16 of the Gopi Gita, they are saying, Pati sutan vaya bhratri bandhava ati vilanghyate achyuta gata Gati vidastavon Gita mohita Gita vayoshita Kasya tajnishi. This means the gopis are saying that, oh my dear Achyuta, you know very well why we have come here. Who but a cheater like you would abandon young women who come to see him in the middle of the night, enchanted by the loud song of his flute? Just to see you, we have completely rejected our husbands, children, ancestors, brothers, and other relatives. Completely contradictory statement to what we just read right now. And very similar to something that is said in text 75, that Krishna is very, very, attractive to the minds of the women. So here, that's what the gopis are saying, that my dear Krishna, you're attracting us with the sound of your flute. But then once we come to you, what do you say to us? You say, oh, why are you here? You should go back to your own homes. This is the middle of the night. You all are from cultured family. You should not come here in the middle of the night just to meet a strange, outside man. That's not proper family. What will your family say? What about your family lineage? What's going to happen to all of this? And when Krishna speaks like this, it's like, millions and millions of arrows just coming and piercing the soft hearts of the gopis. And they're just totally, they just don't know what to do, that they are just feeling so abandoned by Krishna. So here, the statement that he is always the well-wisher of his devotees, the gopis actually challenge that in this particular verse. That Krishna, you're not our well-wisher. You always cheat us. You are not doing things according to what you say that you will do. You don't keep up your promises. You don't do any of this. But all of these statements, the gopis are saying, there's no doubt about it. But again, it actually means this particular statement that Mahaprabhu is making here in this particular chapter about Krishna. What the gopis are speaking in the Gopi Gita, although it seems absolutely contradictory to what is said here, they actually mean the same thing. That how the gopis ultimately are helplessly attracted to Krishna, and how Krishna ultimately, he is just increasing the love of the gopis by separating and just becoming invisible to their eyes, just in the beginning, just to increase their loving emotions towards him. That's why he did it. And then when he comes back and reappears in front of them, he explains this. That, after Vipralamba, after separation, the Sambhoga is much more sweeter. The reunion is much more sweeter. So in the ultimate sense, the gopis are also speaking the very same thing that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is speaking here. That's something that always strikes me whenever I read this particular chapter. And here in text 76, it is said that Krishna is the supreme and he is always glorified as the supreme Lord and controller. Thus, all the previously mentioned transcendental qualities are in him. The 50 qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead mentioned above are as deep as the ocean. In other words, they're difficult to fully comprehend. Even in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where the opulences of the Absolute are being discussed, when the universal form, the 10th chapter, opulences of the Absolute are being discussed, all of them, Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, I just can't tell you everything. All my opulences are impossible to describe. But I can just tell you some of the major highlights, which is just nothing but a spark of my splendor. They're just a spark of the splendor. When there is beautiful, splendorous aura coming out, when there's a little spark, that's what the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is describing. It's just a little tiny hint to what Krishna is actually. Because what Krishna actually is indescribable even by Anantashesh, with his unlimited mouths, with his unlimited hoods. Till today, Anantashesh is not able to fathom the qualities and the transcendental attributes of Krishna. What to speak of us? minute living entities. We can't even fathom that. So just like the waves of the ocean, how Krishna's qualities, his characteristics, his leelas, all of these are unending. They're insurmountable. But all we can do is just try to take a deep breath and dive deep into this transcendental ocean of nectar and try to immerse ourselves in these qualities of Krishna and pray that one day we may be able to not be in a position to remind ourselves to love Krishna. Let us try to pray to Krishna that Krishna, at least, when I'm chanting japa, at least minimum when I am trying to be in the association of devotees, please allow me to be in remembrance of you. Please allow me to remember your transcendental attributes. That is a starting point for each and every one of us. That is the way that we should try to grasp these esoteric subject matters, that we know that how much treasure lies in the deep ocean of Krishna consciousness. When we see the ocean, there are many of us who've gone on cruises. I myself haven't, but I'm sure many of us have gone on cruises. And when we see, when the ship is cruising on the ocean water, we are just floating, right, on top of the ocean water. But below the ocean water, like thousands of meters below, there are huge fishes, huge, sharks, whales, so many sea animals that don't even come up to the surface. What to speak of the surface? They don't even come up to the mid oceanic level. They don't come there. They are in the deep, deep, deep ocean. That's where they are. And they have such a beautiful, atmosphere around them, which is impossible to perceive from the shores or from the, from above. It's impossible to perceive that. But at least we can read about it. We can read how oceanic life is. That gives us an understanding. We can see pictures of how ocean life is. That gives us an insight. So similarly, all of these attributes of Krishna, all of these beautiful transcendental qualities of Krishna is giving us that insight into what Krishna's qualities and Krishna life actually is. And that if we are able to equip ourselves with nice scuba diving gears, which is that scuba diving gear which allows us to go into the deep ocean and stay in deep ocean and not get, out of breath, that scuba diving gear for us in Krishna consciousness is the power of our sadhana. How much we are strict in our own sadhana, in our individual sadhana, that gives us the power of that suit, which allows us to dive deep into the ocean of Krishna consciousness and be able to relish these transcendental attributes of Krishna. So with this, we will end here and with a prayer that one day, O Krishna, may we be allowed, together holding each other's hands, may we be allowed to dive deep and to experience the actual mellows of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. If there's any questions, comments, or reflections, we can take that now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, kalasudha Mataji. Accept my humble obeisance. Very, very beautiful, beautiful session, especially like the Narasimha fasting with the person that you mentioned, and the point that Krishna reciprocates with everyone in an individual sense that he's completely satisfied. That is very beautiful, Mataji. Thank you for your very beautiful class. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone who has questions or comments, please go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, kalasudha Mataji. All the wishes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I had a couple of thoughts that came to my mind when you were speaking.
Yes.
When you speak about there, and you were saying that Krishna uses his dear devotee as examples of how not to be also.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of Caitanya Maharaj
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
how that was an example of how he used his dear devotee to not be a certain way. And the other thought I was having was amazing is that just by fulfilling his devotee's desire of speaking that chivalrous mood, he actually fulfilled the other desire that as Vishnudev was leaving his body, that is the Lord in that form is who he saw as he was leaving. So I just thought that was completely amazing. So many things are taken care of in one.
Mm-hmm.
How not to behave, how to he supports his devotees by fulfilling their desire, having them not break their vows, have their vows come true, and at the same time be present for them at the time of death in the mood that they enjoy. Mm-hmm. So those are two things that really came to mind, which really was quite sweet.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. And congratulations, Praneshwari Lakshmi Mataji. We're so happy for you. I did send a message. I did send a message over to Guru Maharaj and shared the picture. So
thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments or reflections?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
I was, the one point that, I think you were discussing it at the end of your lecture, that Krishna's pastimes, his glories are indescribable by even by Anant Shesh, who holds him in the form of Mahavishnu. So my question was, so that means we will never truly understand him. Like we will never, like a great friend is someone who understands us so well. They understand us better than ourselves, and hence they reciprocate. But we cannot understand Krishna fully. So, how do we then? What is the solution to that? Like, how can we be true lovers if we're not understanding him fully? And even if Anant Shesh cannot understand, then I definitely have no chance. And the second thing is, like, in the Bhagavatam, these pastimes that are described, is it ever described that the Bhagavatam will keep expanding and expanding to include more pastimes of the Lord? These were the two questions I had. Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna. May I know your name, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mataji. This is Vineet. I'm from Atlanta.
Hare Krishna, Vineet Prabhu. I thought so. Thank you so much for those wonderful questions. So, to answer your first question, you're very right that if we don't know the person fully, how are we able to, how do we even start to love that person if we don't know that person in completeness, right? So, let me ask you this. Even in material relationships, don't our own relationships also keep growing? There may be some attributes of our spouses that we probably didn't know, or maybe they have manifested later, that we tend to learn along the way, especially if we are parents. There are certain attributes of the children that probably the children did not even have those attributes maybe even 2 days ago, and they suddenly developed a few attributes, right? So it's a learning process. But because So we don't go around saying that, oh, I don't know my child anymore. How am I supposed to love my child because I don't know, and because he's keeping on manifesting so many different qualities, or my spouse, oh my god, so many sides to my spouse. I don't know if I can love my spouse because I don't know them properly. But that's not a very good argument, because the argument is not proper, because the aspect of love is there in this equation. We love our spouses, we love our children. Therefore, we learn to love their growing qualities as well. And we learn along the way. We know certain things. We know for a fact that we love our loved ones. So that is the basic thing. And as long as we know that, then we don't mind learning anything about that person along the way. Because there will be learning. There will be, sides that will reveal sometime or the other, which even that person might not know. So similarly with Krishna, the reason why it is said that Krishna's qualities, his nature, his pastimes, they are all unlimited, is because it's one of the qualities of Krishna, that Krishna is unlimited. And therefore, Anantashesh cannot, complete his qualities, because, as soon as he completes, Krishna goes and performs something new. And therefore he keeps on repeating it. So, but that does not make Anantashesh stop loving Krishna. You see, that's the bottom line. So for us to be able to love Krishna, it's not really needed for us to know him in completeness, because that's never possible. Even in mundane relationships, it's not possible. We cannot say that we know our parents properly. We cannot say that we know our spouses in completeness, our children in completeness. Never. We can never say that. Because every moment, each and every one of us are growing in emotional level, in our mundane level, emotional, intellectual level, physical level. Every level we are always growing. That's the nature of this world. So why not with Krishna? Krishna is also growing. So that is why it's not a very good I wouldn't say it's not a very good, but it's actually a very good statement that you made, a very good question, excellent question. But at the same time, it's not really a sound argument that if I don't know a person, how am I going to love him? It's not dependent on that. Does that answer your question?
So, if I'm understanding right,
Mm-hmm.
because love comes into the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you accept who that person is for as he or she is right now,
Mm-hmm.
and by love you adjust to whatever qualities or emotions they may show in the future.
Right. That's the same with Krishna. The more we learn about Krishna, the deeper our love gets to Krishna, for Krishna. The more we understand, and the scriptures are there to make us understand about the transcendental attributes about Krishna. We have the pastimes of Krishna. So the more we get equipped with this kind of knowledge, then the more deeper we'll be able to love Krishna also. Right?
Yes, yeah, yes.
Okay, so that's an answer to your first question. And the second question regarding Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many, many more cantos. It is said that Brahma reads a much more bigger Bhagavatam. And, different kalpas, different planets, based on the size of the planet, based on the longevity of the people in that planet, the Srimad Bhagavatam varies in sizes. So that is what is said about Srimad Bhagavatam. But for our planet, this is what we have, the 12 cantos. Okay?
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Very understanding. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your very, very wonderful questions, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Any more questions?
Hare Krishna, Caritamrita Madhya, Koti Koti Dindavanam. Thank you very much for your mental response. As you said, you give your vocabulary.
Jai, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, our life is perfect by listening to your voice.
If you feel better, sing whatever you want to sing, Mataji.
Sure, we will do that. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, I will honor Vrinda Gopika Mataji's request. Out of her mercy, she always engages me in reciting something for my own purification. I will recite my very own favorite, very, very favorite verse from Sri Gopi Geet. So this is for you, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Pranata Dehinam Papakarshanam Trinacharanugam Sriniketanam Phanarpitam Te Padambujam Krinukuche Shuna Krindhirichayam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, kalasudha Mataji. Thank you very much. Koti Koti Dindavanam. Shri Gopi Gita.
Jai. Haribol, thank you. Okay, if there's no more questions, shall we end here, Priti Vilasini Mataji?
Thank you so much for engaging all of us in a beautiful storytelling and Krishna Katha, very beautiful verses from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita and deep realizations. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Haribol. There is no one else having any questions or comments or realization. We can end the call. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Nandakoti Vaishnava Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai. Third place, kalasudha Mataji ki jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Thank you all so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Sorry, I didn't see you on the call. That was so I was late because I had to leave. I was looking usually on 5, so I'm sorry. No problem. Thank you, Mataji. We can end. This session is no longer being recorded. Thank you, Mataji.